Final Fantasy and MTG are releasing in just a few weeks, and we're still seeing astronomical pre-order prices. Or are we? The prices for a Play Booster box are fairly stagnant around $140 or $145, even at 30 packs for the premium Universes Beyond seems fairly close to standard. Innistrad Remastered was the most recent premium set, and it also launched at about the same price. Even though it isn't very desirable right now, it's only fallen to around $125. So if boxes are priced consistent to their product line, why is everyone losing their minds about Final Fantasy being overpriced? Of course the volume is all around collector booster pricing in the Commander decks. But Commander sucks, so let's just talk about collector boxes. In their Collecting Final Fantasy article, Wizards revealed that their MSRP for a collector booster is $37.99 or $456 for 12 packs. I think honestly someone just went, oh, 456, that's nice and clean, divide that by 12 please. Now most stores I know don't actually sell boxes at just 12 times the booster price. Normally there's somewhat of a built-in discount. For example, on normal standard sets I see the baseline at around $230, which I think is under the MSRP from Wizards. Now a set like Outlaws of Thunder Junction wasn't quite as popular as Final Fantasy, so Wizards didn't directly announce an MSRP for it. Big box retailers though stick to between $25 and $30 on pricing for single collector boosters, so I put MSRP closer to $250 on these non-premium sets. So how to reconcile that we've gotten plenty of sets for less than MSRP, but Final Fantasy is going bananas? Well, recently we've also had two other premium sets to compare it to. In 2024 we got both Fallout and Assassin's Creed. Fallout, of course, also went wild at release, but with a little less fanfare. Premium set collector boosters usually sit around $300 a box. I think I paid $360 each for two Fallout boxes, and recently I paid $260 for Innistrad Remastered. Fallout had enough hype behind it that when market was closer to $400 when it launched, and many stores were priced in that range, and it's continued to climb over the past year. A single collector booster is $100, and a box is almost $1,000. Surprisingly, there isn't a single in the set worth much more than $500, but there are so many hits and the value of uncommon and commons drive up the price of packs. Clearly this is because of limited printing. And not that Wizards didn't print enough, but that we know there isn't going to be a reprint and there is true collectability in the set. And hype for the crossover setting as well. Fallout had huge demand even as the TV show pushed more people in the Falloutosphere. What would you call a group of Fallout enjoyers? I'm trying to get away from fandom or community, so give me your best words in the comments. This is the positive side of Universes Beyond. Collectability. However, in Fallout there were no play boosters. There's no way to get any card outside of the collector boosters. This really helped every card in the set have some value to someone for being the character or artwork they wanted for their deck. The opposite end of success is Assassin's Creed. This is where I also announce as always that I'm still holding a sealed case of Assassin's Creed. I technically haven't lost money on it yet since I got the case at $230 a box, but that's the number we expect for a normal standard release, and it's all I paid at launch for a premium Universes Beyond set. Now Assassin's Creed still has the same amount of chase cards, 4 serialized historical figures versus Fallout's 6 bobbleheads, and someone apparently is already hoarding them. Prices online do not match sales at all, and of course no one is buying. And normal cards aren't particularly valuable either. Specifically, I believe because there is a path to acquire them outside of the collector booster, the Beyond booster that Wizards invented alongside March of the Machine Aftermath. And unsurprisingly, in the same time of year, Assassin's Creed did not attract the demand. Now maybe some of the blame here is on Ubisoft. Assassin's Creed Shadows was supposed to release around the same time as the Universes Beyond set, and that game didn't release until March of 2025. So unlike Fallout, there is no tentpole property alongside it to encourage fans from the other side to try buying some cards. Today, Assassin's Creed is still pretty much around its MSRP, wherever that magic number might be, but around $270 a box right now. Significantly under Fallout, but this is still a limited set, so it should come collectible eventually. Mostly because there is no gimmick to it. If you like Assassin's Creed and Magic, eventually there will be fewer and fewer of these left to open. This is unlike Murders at Karlov Manor, where the box price is down to $190 for a collector booster display. And a lot of that has to do with many people not enjoying the murder mystery theme and believing that Wizards lean too heavily into it. So we come back around to Final Fantasy. Coincidentally, it's in this same time slot as March of the Machine Aftermath and Assassin's Creed, a little bit earlier than Lord of the Rings launched. But there's no weird booster pack structure. This game also doesn't need a release to stand up interest alongside it. Similar to Lord of the Rings, Final Fantasy has sold around 100 million copies. Now that fanbase may be a little bit more diluted since all 100 million sales of Lord of the Rings were Lord of the Rings, and Magic is targeting just the 16 mainline games of Final Fantasy, and not any of the other editions. However, it does appear that collectors are also aware of the prospect of collector boosters. Lord of the Rings was similarly priced when it launched. A collector booster box was around $450, and that's with the bounties announced prior to release that the one ring would sell for over $1 million. Even with that amount of hype, to find a single card, pre-sale boxes reached around $450. But of course, the ring was found in a few days, and boxes never reached insane lottery ticket pricing as we opened more and more boxes without the ring appearing. The value of Lord of the Rings was also somewhat blasted away by the special edition, eating all the surge foils. But even still, it's priced around $1,000, while special edition is hanging out around $1,850. I even laughed. I put my money on the surge foils holding their value and didn't get any Lord of the Rings special edition and had to eat my hat. So is some of that driving Final Fantasy as well? Collectors know that special edition was immediately successful. There's going to be likely 4 and 5 figure chase card in the Golden Chocobo, especially with it being limited to English language boosters. If you know you'll get a 50 to 100% return in just months after release by buying a collector box, even at $700, a lot of buyers are very confident. We're also in the boom times for Pokemon, and Pokemon collectors are also going wild for each new release and scooping them all up off the shelves. The main difference being all the cards are available from the same pack, so any box holds more value. But that money bleeds into Magic, either from people just seeing what others are doing and copying it, or just by sheer luck of seeing someone else buy a box so they do too. What's interesting about this boom cycle compared to the early 2020s is that there aren't PPP loans this time. I can't tell if people are just over leveraging themselves to try to make a buck selling cards, or if I'm just not at the level of purchasing power to get involved with this set in a significant way. That all boils down to me as, am I actually too poor for Final Fantasy? It's my favorite set of games, and even absent a serialized Squall card, I'm desperate to open my normal 2 collector boxes. But how desperate am I if it's going to cost $1,400 instead of $600 or even $800? I could buy 10 Bloomborough play boxes and have streams weekly with shorts that are probably reasonably successful as well. But it's not the dopamine. Final Fantasy is the dopamine. Can we find that chocobo? Are we pulling foil through the ages cards? So as I debated my own failure at not being mega rich at this point in my life, and don't get me wrong, most of us already know I spend $20,000 a year on trading cards. I'm living well and not complaining. But how 2 years after Lord of the Rings is it so mind-boggling to me that I can't afford 20 boxes of Final Fantasy like last time? I finally settled on my own form of copium. It's just collector boosters. We're all going out of our minds over collector boosters when Wizards has busted down the doors of all their printers and gone to the moon printing play booster boxes for this set. That includes Through the Ages, just not the shiny kind. No chance in Mega Chocobos, but so much product there will be play boosters for sale well on after this set launches. I've even heard that Tarkir Dragonstorm is going to sell out and not be on shelves because they're still printing Final Fantasy. That's also the difference of having 2 kinds of boosters. The dopamine isn't in play boosters. It's fun to get pulls, but you know the mega hits aren't available to you. Wizards knows as well that it doesn't matter. These collector booster boxes are going to sell, and in fact I'd say Wizards has already deposited that payment. They wrote a line item out and decided how much money they wanted to print for themselves, and they made that many collector boxes. There's also something happening with Final Fantasy boxes that wasn't happening, or probably not as widely during Lord of the Rings, and is doing it on the distribution level. While Wizards can set their MSRP, it's not a hard rule, and stores aren't beholden to it. Neither are Wizards' chosen distributors. Now, Wizards has recently even canceled one of their distributors for not meeting sales targets, so you may think that this new strategy they're employing could be a big risk. We've heard plenty of times that a local store will cancel a pre-order and then relist the product at a higher market price rather than fulfill their existing orders. Well, that's happening at the distributor level too. Say you're Big Baller Store number 1 and you ordered 1,000 Final Fantasy collector booster boxes at distribution price. Well, you get a notice leading up to pre-sales that your order was filled at 100 boxes. Now you can order more, but that price is now 50% of market. And this is actually happening out there. Distributors are cashing in on this hype too, and marking up boxes before they even get to shelves. I have no expectations that this happens with Final Fantasy, but our next flop of a set is going to see some marked up collector boosters on shelves for a long time. If distributors try to cash in on a set that's the next Martyrs at Karlov Manor, stores will be hung out to dry with marked up boxes. So I come back to wondering if I'm too poor for this set, and how these markups at each step and ever marching on market price and LGS business practices affect everyone else who want to chase these prize cards. I encourage everyone to take free money when it's sitting in front of them too. This includes scalping the shit out of trading cards. If you're walking through a store and something is sitting on a shelf that you know sells for more, pick it up, flip it, get a quarter pounder with cheese on the way home. It's good for you. But is this really what's driving prices so high? Or is demand just incredibly high? I feel like there are so many more people interested right now that just want a Final Fantasy box as a collector's item, especially since no one has them in hand yet for the most part. The true test will be what happens on a release day, and individuals can list on TCG Player. Does the price tank by hundreds of dollars, or does the crowd go wild, paying even more and driving the price up? Here's to having a watch party on the 6th of June, unless you're going to be a pre-release like me. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this ramble about boxes, and take care.